first off, on behalf of Blackpool North and previous Labour Party, I just want to thank you for coming to the constituency today. I think it's been a fantastic day. There's been a buzz around Blackpool and Cleveland since your announcement of the tour. I just want what made you do this tour around all these marginal constituencies after the general election?
We did 100 events in the general election. I was at one level delighted with the result. We put on 3 million votes, but very sad we didn't quite get across the line to form a Labour government, and we missed a number of marginal seats by quite a small majority. I also, despite doing 100 events, felt very guilty that there's various places I didn't get to during the election campaign, which of course is here, and I promised to make up for it this summer. So I'm doing, I thought I was doing 40 constituencies, but you've just told me to go and do 60, so that's okay.
You can come back to us then too.
And so it is about making sure our members are aware of what we're doing, but above all to encourage them to get involved with the community and community activities. And so today I had a very good meeting with people in the Melting Pot in Morecambe on what they're doing, what they're achieving with older and younger people through support on food, but also support on music and advice, and bringing strong communities together. I had a great meeting with the WASPy women here, with yourself, in Blackpool earlier on. So every event I do everywhere is always a parallel meeting or discussion with local groups, and I learn a great deal from that. Surely the whole point of our party is to listen to people as well as speak to them.
No, without a doubt. Well, like so many people, I tuned in to watch Glastonbury at home and then saw your speech, apparently to an audience not seen since the Rolling Stones were there. So how was that, and seeing so many young people actually being engaged in politics, probably the biggest in the generation for a while?
Well, to me it was quite incredible. I've never actually been to Glastonbury before. I've seen it on television, of course, like we all have. And they did ask me who I'd like to have as a headline act, and I said Joan Baez. I thought it would be great if she would do it. And I was a long chat with Michael Eavis, who set up Glastonbury. And it turns out both of us went to a folk festival in the 1970s, where he got the idea about Glastonbury. I can't remember what idea I got. But it was incredible because we got this huge audience there. And I wanted to give a message about music, about creativity, and about the contribution we could make. So I ended with my favourite poet, Shelley. And it was an incredible experience.
No, incredible to watch on telly.
Did you like the shirt?
It was an interesting choice.
It's Mexican. My wife gave it to me.
Well, I did see during as well you were pulling a few pints, and that got quite a few pictures on social media. Workers' beer tent.
Well, I'm happy to pull pints to the workers' beer company. They don't actually drink them, but I'm a socialist, so I give them to others.
So what would your message be that a future Labour government would do different for this generation of young people? They're getting engaged, and their appetite is bigger, so they want to know more. And I got asked a lot in the general, and I know others are still asking now. So what's your message to them?
The message is about education. Yes, it is about college fees, it is about university fees, it is about EMA, because EMA was a huge step forward. It encouraged a lot of young people to stay on in education, it gave their family support and gave some degree of independence to young people. So they say, well, actually, I receive EMA because I'm doing something for everybody, I'm learning. Great. So we'd bring that back. But it's also about what we do after that, in the sense of the jobs and job opportunities that are there. And I want graduates to be able to get jobs, I want qualified young people to be able to get jobs. Therefore, I make a very big emphasis on how we as a Labour government will invest in a growing, sustainable economy. We cannot just be a service economy. Service industry is very important, they're not the whole story. Therefore, Blackpool has been a place where there's been very high-tech manufacturing industry for a very long time. Very skilled jobs here in Blackpool. The skills are there. It needs participation and investment by local government and the National Investment Bank to bring it about. That's why I encouraged at our meeting just now the Labour Party in Blackpool to engage with the community on how we see Blackpool developing under a Labour government.
Well, here on the Foul Coast, fracking's a huge issue, especially down the road on Preston New Road. I know today people have already spoken to you about it. What's your view on fracking, and do you think there's any alternatives we should pursue?
Well, I have thought about fracking a lot, studied it quite a lot, and looked at the effects of fracking in the United States and Australia. And my concerns are the damage it does to the environment, the pollution it causes to groundwater, and therefore we came to a view that we would oppose fracking. fracking, and Barry Gardner made that clear at last year's party conference. And so we have to then look at energy generation for the future. We have to look at investment in sustainables and renewable energy resources for the whole country, and energy supply and the cost of it. So a Labour government would bring the national grid into public ownership, and we would give local authorities the power to set up, and indeed the encouragement to set up energy companies such as having Nottingham with Robin Hood Energy in order to provide lower prices. In Germany, it's utterly normal that the local authority should be involved in provision of electricity and gas supplies, which is accepted.
And just a final question is, I know yourself involved in local football, you do, I think you referee a few games, and obviously you're a big Arsenal fan. Here at Blackpool, we've got a proud football team with the likes of Sir Stanley Matthews, Jimmy Armfield. One thing that many fans here have been asking about is more control in their clubs. You know, these are the people that pay the money week in, week out. They are the bread and butter of the club. What do you see a Labour government can do to ensure fans have great control of their clubs and the biggest say in what happens?
I'm looking at this, and Tom Watson, who's Shadow Secretary of DCMS, we're looking at this together about democracy in football. Because think about it, football clubs at one level are incredibly powerful and rich in the Premier League and the Championship, and to some extent in League One, maybe a bit in League Two. Lower down than that, they get very little, and so what we have put forward is a view that the Premier League clubs would have to pay a stipend, would have to pay into a national fund for the development of the grassroots of the game, but also we want to empower supporters associations to get places on the board and to have a participation in the club. It doesn't mean a fan-run or fan-controlled club is less successful. I mean, nobody would complain about Bayern Munich's success, would they? Yeah. We would all want Bayern Munich's success. And football, like other sports, has to be for everybody. It has to be the grassroots. There's something sad that I live just near the Arsenal Stadium. I support Arsenal. The ticket prices are incredibly high. It's a wonderful stadium, and so on and so on and so on. And then, only a few miles down the road, you see a struggling amateur club that cannot afford to maintain its pitch, and in some places, publicly owned pitches being sold off for development because they can no longer afford to keep them. There has to be sharing out of the money to go to the grassroots in football. There has to be the option of the regular clubs.
Well, thank you very much for coming to help me, and thanks for coming to Blackpool and Cleveland today.
My pleasure.
Thank you.